You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my review of Red Rocket. As part of my continued coverage of the 2021 Denver Film Festival, Red Rocket played as one of this year's special presentations that I was lucky enough to have access to view. So, once again, thank you so much to Denver Film for granting me press access to this year's festival. Red Rocket is a 2021 dark comedy drama that follows a down and out former porn star played by Simon Rex as he is forced out of LA and into his hometown, a small little place in good old Texas. And upon arrival, he instantly gets back into some nefarious endeavors trying to find a way back up on his feet. Before we get into this review, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my new videos, including all of my coverage from this year's festival. Red Rocket comes from director Sean Baker, who is somewhat of a film Twitter indie darling, if you will. The film Tangerine, his debut, was phenomenal. I think it's a fantastic film. Then we had the Florida Project, which I was less hyped about than most. But one thing is clear when it comes to Sean Baker and his voice as a director. He likes to focus on underrepresented groups in society, people that we step over, that we look past, stories that are really ignored by and large in society. And here we are again, focusing on a small town in Texas and these people that have been left behind for all intents and purposes, and a male porn star. So, once again, we are definitely focusing on the fringes of American society. And of course, Simon Rex reprising his role in front of the camera after all this time and reprising his role in adult entertainment material had me excited to check it out. Plus, when we focus on the sex industry and get to focus on men in the sex industry, it certainly gives it an added peak of interest just because even now in 2021, that's not the focus of sex work. And so I was looking forward to Red Rocket. And ultimately, this is such a mixed bag that unfortunately is torpedoed by an unfocused morality. Yeah, I'm calling this one a raunchy mess of a film. But let's go ahead and talk about the positives because there are quite a few. First of all, Simon Rex is fantastic in this role. He's so endearing, really charming, and he just oozes this douchebag character that holds our entire film together here. And once again, Sean Baker finds these just ordinary people living in these places and emboldens them, much like Chloe Zhao does. It's really marvelous to watch these smaller filmmakers get everyday normal people and perfectly insert them into films where they bring authenticity and realism to these films that depend on authenticity and realism. And particularly some of the older ladies that he got for this film, the two moms, if you will, of the film, they steal the show. They're so fun and so wonderful. They are right there with Simon Rex, to be honest. And the screenplay is actually pretty funny. Through and through, this is probably his most outwardly entertaining film. It's funny, the situations are funny, the screenplay itself is quite witty and quick, and it uses an NSYNC song to absolute perfection. I died right off the bat when it occurs, and Every time it is brought back and referenced, it's done so perfectly. And fear not, we definitely get some Simon Rex skin here. So we weren't quite bait and switched, which I actually was nervous for as we were moving throughout the film. I said, hold up now. We're not really going to get a film about a male porn star and not get a show of some kind, right? But we do. We do. So then, what doesn't work so well when it comes to Red Rocket? Well, the love story here. The love story here. We're following this Simon Rex character who is a complete a-hole. He's a douchebag to everyone. He's a terrible person. And the film never makes excuses for him. It never really co-signs the behavior. And in several of the other aspects, it does at least slightly condemn him, cast that negative shadow over him. However, when it comes to this central relationship that he garners with a 17-year-old girl, I don't understand the point of it. I don't understand why it was even really here, because honestly, that almost single-handedly just destroyed the film for me. It was so gross, and the way that Baker handles it was tone deaf, in my opinion. There's nothing to say. It's not enough to bring up basically sex trafficking and grooming as it is portrayed here. And everything we've been talking about from various other films over the past decade, at least, about age gaps between male leads and female leads, whether acknowledged or not. To have this happen with an under 18-year-old girl and a man in his 40s, have her put in very graphic situations that the audience has to watch, I was pretty disgusted. And honestly, this all gets introduced in the second act of the film. The first act, I was so on board with this film and I was going with it. And then we get to this and it just halted any enjoyment. And suddenly I felt disgusted and I was really struggling to even stay engaged with what I was watching because it was so repulsive. Now, we can have films about repulsive subject matters. We can have films with not good leads. We can have films with lead characters who aren't good people and do shitty things. But for me, you have to say something. You have to bring something to the table. When you're talking about sex trafficking, under 18-year-old girls hooking up, getting with old porn stars, and in some ways, framing her as somewhat complicit, honestly, and to just present it and let it be is too much and really didn't play well to me at all. And I think that's a lesson to filmmakers, period. It's not enough to acknowledge, yeah, he's a shitty person. It's not enough to acknowledge, yeah, this is a really terrible situation. You have to present something more. You have to do more with that. And this film doesn't. It doesn't say anything, to be honest. We're just following all of this. And along the way, while we're acknowledging that he's a really crappy person, he's also still really funny. He's also still really charming. We're also still meant to laugh at him and laugh with him as we go through these hijinks, through these scenarios that honestly are presented as kind of like, oh ho ho, hijinks as we go throughout when he's ruining people's lives left and right. And once again, Baker with these final scenes, this one just made me feel gross. It takes up so much of the story and it is so vile to me that it really torpedoed any sort of recommendation I could have had for Red Rocket. What could have been and should have been a fun film about a crappy dude down on his luck that, hey, may be ruining people's lives to extents, turns into a story about grooming and doesn't give any sort of insight or commentary on that. So ultimately, Red Rocket brings some entertainment. It has a lot of positives going for it, but I could not recommend the film on that alone. Hate to say it, but Sean Baker at this point is 1 for 3 for me personally. I know y'all love him, but I need more than simply acknowledging and looking at lives from people on the fringes of society. So that was my review for Red Rocket. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, Click like down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Red Rocket? And how do you feel about Sean Baker as a filmmaker? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.